Well, hello, folks. Welcome to another day tripping with Ken. This time, I am touring around the Hilton Chicago, this beautiful grand hotel. We have stayed here 3 times now. The first time was in April 2024 when we were checking out colleges in the area. And this college had an affiliation, or the college that we were checking out, Columbia, had an affiliation with this hotel. So we got a discount. And we have stayed here ever since. It is absolutely beautiful. So I'm going to take you around on a brief tour, give you a brief history of this historic hotel, which is, I believe, just about 100 years old. It's been around that long, and a lot of the gorgeous details are still in this hotel from way back then. Of course, they have modern conveniences as well. So let's take a look around. So this is looking at the grand entrance, and this is the main area that you would enter into. And again, this is all historic decor, the old brass doors and the revolving doors. By the way, the reason why revolving doors were invented, and I think they're originally invented in New York, was because that is when what they would call air cooling, air conditioning, came into be within these large buildings. And by having revolving doors, it was a way to keep the cooler air and also heated air in while keeping whatever the weather was outside out. So that's why you see revolving doors here. Now, of course, you also have these 2 stage doors, you can see here, and that would serve the same purpose, but the revolving doors were just a lot more convenient to the guests. You came in the doors and went through the little foyer there, and then you made it into really the grand entrance, and this is absolutely spectacular. Now the lobby nowadays is down that hallway and down that way. I don't know if originally the lobby was here or not, but this is just absolutely spectacular. And we're gonna go up the stairs here. I'm gonna see if the grand ballroom is available to peek into, because it is really quite spectacular. And now that we're at the top of the stairs, you can see a piano here. And it was quite customary back in years ago, and you can see even now, at these landings, these mid-level landings in the grand staircase, that they would have a piano player or perhaps a string quartet or something like that. And as the guests came in, they had some beautiful music they could listen to. But just look at this. Look at the columns here and the painted ceiling and all the detail. And this is something you don't see anymore. This kind of detail in these grand hotels and grand buildings in general back then. All the paneling, this is just the side of the grand staircase. Again, these are areas they could set up as, event areas nowadays, but more chandeliers. I think many years ago, maybe, decades ago, this might have been kind of a gathering place or even a bar location. I'm really not quite sure. You can still see can be used as bars during events. As we look outside there, you can see that's Michigan Avenue right in front of us, and Grant Park beyond that. I don't know if the Grand Ballroom is available. Looks like it is. So let's go in there first, just in case they're setting up for something. So I'll give you the grand reveal here. I mean, just look at this place. This is probably one of the most spectacular rooms in all of Chicago. It is hard to really see the detail on video, but the just immense amount of detail you can see way up there on those alcoves on the ceilings, the paintings. And then as you go down, that's just a kind of a balcony that wraps all around. these grand chandeliers. And of course, you can see there are tables set up. This is still used today. And pan around here just to see how big the scope of this place is. It is absolutely spectacular. And again, it's just not something we see today. You go into some of the most high-end hotels, you go into their grand ballroom, it's not going to look like this at all. It's going to be quite plain. Now here is the center of the room, that huge medallion. And it might be hard to tell, but you can see those are actually vents up there. So that was a way to add to air circulation, and also having just this beautiful, basically ceiling artwork. Last time I was here, I walked in here and there was a security guard who kind of gave me the history of this. Some of it I kind of forgot, but he said this is pretty much how it always has been, going back to when this hotel was built. As I said, it's just about 100 years old. And then Conrad Hilton bought the hotel in the early 1940s. I think about maybe 1942, 1943. There was a lot of renovations that were done then. And then in the 1980s, there were more that were done. That's what the security guard had told me at the time. But when you look around here, you can just see how beautiful they kept this. And I'm certainly glad that they did, because again, where else do you see this nowadays? And by the way, anybody can rent this out. They have a whole wedding package, these fantasy wedding packages. I'm sure they're not cheap. But if you wanted to come to Chicago and I think this ballroom can, hold like 2,000 people of your closest friends for whatever occasion you want, you can do it. I see these stairs here. Last time I was here, I didn't notice this. I don't know if this takes us up to the little balcony or not, or if it's roped off. No, it's not. I can see, might have been, but wow, I did not come up here last time. Just look at this. This is absolutely amazing. You can see all I would assume that's gold leaf, but the details, just look along these moldings here, and then up, you see the paintings that go all the way around the room. Of course, these spectacular brass chandeliers and crystal chandeliers. And this really shows you the scope of this room. Just absolutely beautiful. Actually, I'm kind of amazed that this is just open like this for anybody to walk around when it's not in use. But that was the case last time I was here. I just, it was before I was really doing any kind of videos, so I took photos and things. But, when I came in here, this was a year ago, and the security guard saw me and told me the history of the place, and staff here is fantastic, by the way. So here, before you went into the ballroom, there was sort of, I guess you would call this an ante room. I'm not ante as in A-N-T-I to the ballroom, so this would be where your guests might be gathering and waiting. Also, the area out there, maybe they go out there and get some drinks before they come in to the main ballroom. And then here, this could maybe even be like a check-in or reception area, even, going back decades ago. But again, just look at this room. This is just the outer room of that grand ballroom with these gorgeous paintings and the gold leaf. And, the chandeliers aren't as spectacular as the ballroom, but they are still quite impressive. So the grand ballroom is, of course, the pinnacle of having your event space. And there are other meeting spaces here. There's new modern ones down below. There's a convention center they added on in the 1980s or so. And then there's other ballrooms as well. Not as grand as the grand ballroom, but they're still quite nice. So again, the detail and the beauty of these old hotels. I remember seeing this when I was growing up, we'd go into San Francisco, we'd go to the St. Francis Hotel, maybe for dinner or something like that. Built about the same time, kind of the same style, not quite as grand as this as far as decor, but the same style architecture. The outside of the hotel is brick with those alcoves. That hotel is still there. They added a tower onto that as well, but it is still there. But the same kind of era that was built. So I've seen kind of this type of at least architecture before, but nothing compares to the grandeur of this hotel. All right, so we're gonna go down the other side of the grand stairways. That's where we were, on the far side there, and now we're on the opposite side going down. And I'll show you more of the modern amenities that they have down here. So here is the main check-in area. We came from that end of the hallway down to here, and I don't know if this was the check-in area years ago. It is now. And as we get over here, they've got these sort of supersized chess set, and beyond there, pool table and foosball and that sort of thing. And then this is one of the bars and restaurant area. You come down here and have cocktails, and then they have, I think it's more small bites of food. And then as you get over here, this is where they also do breakfast and lunch. And I don't know if this is a buffet or not. One time it was. It may be a la carte, but this is just one of the areas that you can dine here. Yes, even Queen Elizabeth came here. So as we make our way down from the other end of the check-in area, you have the urban kitchen here. And this is, kind of like, your Starbucks type beverages. It's not Starbucks, and they have a lot more amenities here. They've got like a little store you can do grab and go items, places to sit here. Wonderful gelato, which is right up here. I'll show you that. We always seem to partake in that. We probably will later today at some point. And then beyond, all your coffee drinks and things like that. They've got some delectable pastries. And by the way, some excellent pizza. You don't have to go far if you want Chicago deep dish pizza. They have it right there, make it fresh. It is excellent. And again, here, all these grab and go items like you would see in just about any modern hotel, but this is really convenient. I will tell you that, obviously when you buy things like this inside a hotel, especially an upscale hotel like this, you're going to be paying a little bit of a premium on that stuff. Right outside that grab and go market, this would be another staircase that goes up to the grand ballroom. Over here, you've got a store. You can get all kinds of things, of course, snacks, but, sweatshirts, Chicago souvenirs, things you can buy for the kids to take home where you got your kids with you. All kinds of neat little things. I always buy the gum here. Let's see if I can find that, because I, from the very start, like when we first came here a couple years ago, not a couple, well, it's been a year and a half, I found this gum, and I just really like it. So every time I come here, I get 2 or 3 packs of that, and all kinds of little take-home souvenirs that you can get in this shop. And again, they have drinks and candy, that sort of thing, all kinds of sweatshirts. And this is where you would go into, if you forgot your toothpaste or whatever, they're going to have all that kind of stuff here. So right next to the shop here is Kitty O'Shea's, and this is an Irish theme pub. So they have, obviously all kinds of different draft beers and Irish liquors, of course, and anything you want. I mean, it's a full bar, and I'll show you a little bit around in there. I'm not going to talk while I'm in there, simply because it is really noisy, but we have been in there before. They've got a full menu as well. You can sit outside and eat if you'd like on a nice evening, or eat inside the pub. So you can see it's quite a popular place and noisy, but good place if you just want to, get something to drink. They have a full menu, and they've got the usual kind of things you would think: bangers and mash and corned beef and things like that. We've eaten there. I think it was the last time we were here. And on a nice evening, they've got a wonderful patio. You can sit right outside along Michigan Avenue. Where we stay, we're up here on this 22nd floor, and we've actually stayed in the exact same hotel room every single time. We liked it so much the first time. Every time I call to make reservations, I request it. But what I want to show you here is the way this hotel is built, because it was built 100 years ago and had a brick facade. It's basically built like maybe like two H's put on each side. So if you can kind of understand that, that's why these hallways go down this way. The rooms here are actually kind of in that center area of the H and look outside into these alcoves. And you can see there's one on this side as well. And same thing if you go down, way down there, the hallway back then. And it's the way they were just built. That was the architecture of the time. Other hotels were built this way. It was quite common in San Francisco. The one I know of is the St. Francis Hotel. It is still like that. The same way, it looks very much identical to this hotel, and the same. On the exterior, the difference is the St. Francis, they built a big tower connecting to it. So that's why these hallways kind of go down this way, then they connect to another hallway down there, or down here, you can see. So these rooms here, their windows are looking out of these alcoves. So they have windows to the outside, and they're kind of looking down at the street, but they're in a kind of the center of the H. So if you figure the H goes this way on one side and one the other, here's sort of the hallways, and then the rooms kind of fill out that area and all point their windows towards that open space. Now, we always get lucky because we always choose the same room. So therefore, we look over Michigan Avenue and the wonderful Lake Michigan.
Here's a view from our hotel room. High atop the Hilton Chicago, we're on the 22nd floor. In fact, we're in the same room we have been in the last two times that we stayed here. The first time was we were checking out colleges. I think that was April of 2024. Then when we dropped Ollie off to college for the first time, that would have been a year ago in August 2024. And here we are in August 2025. And we're getting Ollie settled in. There's a beautiful Buckingham fountain. In fact, that's where I did my first video last year when Ollie suggested to me I should start doing some YouTube videos. So, we'll go down there later and look around. This time of the year, it's absolutely beautiful. You can see all the boats moored out there. And then up to the left is the end of the Navy Pier. They shoot fireworks from there during the summer on Wednesday and Saturday nights. So if we get a chance, we'll take a look at that. And it's just a beautiful area to walk around. That's Grant Park. So definitely going to check that out when we have a chance this trip. Looking towards the south from our room, that is the beautiful Field Museum. We have not been in there yet. We're going to try and do that this trip. That is to the right, to the left, where you see that crane. They're working on the Shed Aquarium. We did go there last year, and they were working on it last year. So it looks like they are still improving that. And then that little dome building way off to the left, that is the planetarium. We have not been in there. Then a little bit further on, it's a little hard to see, but down there, that is a Soldier Field right there. They still have the historic facade, but then of course, several years ago, they built that into a modern stadium. So excellent, excellent room here. That's why we love staying at the Hilton Chicago. Sort of an artifact from the past. These are mail chutes. I'll show you this really close here. And there happens to be one on our floor, probably all the floors. It's not in use anymore,
but you can see it's glass, and I would assume that is brass. And what people would do on each floor, this is where they would mail their letters. If it was still operating, there would be a slot right about here. You would put your mail in there, your postcards, that sort of thing. They drop down to the very bottom floor, probably even the basement, where there was a mail room, and they would send those off for you. Now, of course, you'd have to have a stamp on it and all, but these are really cool. I remember seeing these in hotels. I grew up in the San Francisco area. We'd go into San Francisco, like the old Fairmont and St. Francis hotels. They're all still there. But they had these, and I think even my grandparents lived in a pretty upscale apartment in San Francisco, and I'm almost positive that in the main hallway they had one of these as well. So pretty cool. I still think they should still have these operating today, but then again, not too many people mail postcards and letters anymore when they're on vacation. On the 8th floor of the hotel is an indoor pool. They also have a fitness center up here, and I'll just show you the pool. Nobody's really swimming in there, so I don't know if I'll walk in there. Last time we were here, it was, I was gonna go to it, but it was just closed for the day. They're doing some refurbishment, but you can see somebody's swimming in there, a little kid is swimming, so I don't want to go in there and show you it too closely. But it is on the 8th floor and indoors, so no matter what time of the year that you come here, you can have a swim. One of the pool attendants told me there's a sun deck out here, so we gotta, right there, press the button, and let's go out and take a look. So again, we are on the 8th floor, and it is the evening. I'm kind of piecing this hotel video together. I might do a little bit this evening, a little bit tomorrow, just simply because the hotel is really busy downstairs. So I might wait. I've got some nice plantings here. But yeah, there's Wabash Avenue right there. And you can see they're doing some building out that way. There is Lake Michigan. So I wouldn't want to come out here in the winter. I mean, even here on a late August evening, it's a little bit chilly out here, but still really nice. Should turn the lights on. And there's the back of the hotel. One thing you'll notice, this is an old historic hotel. This is just about, I think about 100 years old now. And back then, the way they built hotels were those alcoves, and you can see there's some on either side of the street. So just the way the architecture was back then to build these tall structures, these tall hotels. Unlike today, you see a modern building right there where it doesn't have to be quite as stout to go up much higher. Back then, they had to make these buildings like this quite large to be able to basically build the structure so they could go up to, in this case, it's about 300 feet tall. So therefore, you can see some rooms in the alcoves are just going to be kind of facing each other. But then if you get the rooms on the sides, you're facing outward. Our room is on the opposite side of the hotel. Right next to the pool is this very large fitness center, and they even have a track. So if you want to take a run, again, you come in here during the late fall and winter months, and there's light snow outside, and it's in the 20s as the high. This would be quite welcome to have an indoor track. So very nice, quite large as well. And again, as we go this way, there is the pool right there. There's the hot tub and the pool, and then the outdoor deck beyond that. What's also nice about the fitness and pool center, they have full lockers in there with showers. Obviously, I'm not going to show you that. So if you don't want to change into your swimsuit in your room and come up here, you can certainly do that here. And also there's towels and there's some refreshments out here. So a really nice pool and fitness center here at the Chicago Hilton. So as we go down to the lobby, we're going down from the 8th floor. That's where we were coming from. You can see this old style elevator. All these elevators are absolutely beautiful, real wood paneling. They still have the brass doors, and of course you can see up there they have been updated, but really nice. And here is downstairs lobby as you come out. Look at these beautiful chandeliers and the detail in the ceilings. Now there are, believe it or not, there are 14 elevators as far as the main area here. And you got to pay attention because certain elevators only go to certain floors, but they're all, again, these beautiful brass doors, just going back to, you know, the original architecture of this hotel. And it's something you just don't see anymore. Here, down here, I mentioned about the mailbox slot that was on all the different floors. Well, this is, when they were in use, this is where they would drop into. So one more thing I want to show you here, they've got a history wall here, and they have a bust of Conrad Hilton, who of course was the patriarch, the founder of the Hilton hotels, and he bought this hotel in the early 1940s. Now, the original hotel was opened in 1927. It was under a different name back then, but then he bought it, changed it to a Hilton. But along this wall, you can see the history of it. That's kind of a really neat view of the hotel, sort of a cutaway if you look there. And then they have some of the old menus that were up. You can see how much the food was back then, and some serving sets. And yeah, there was an ice skating rink here at one time. There was a bowling alley. There was a full theater at one time. There was even a miniature golf course. So they had the ice follies here years ago, for those of you who may remember the ice follies. And here's when they were renovating the hotel in the 1980s. And they had a re-grand opening in 1985. And all these different photos here over the years. So you can come down here and get a quick history. Also, this hotel has been used in countless movies and TV shows. You can see one on the screen there. It's been used for years and years and years. They have a timeline of all the different movies that were shown here. This is my best friend's wedding, which was playing on the screen as I panned over. But it shows you all the different movies that were filmed here. And quite often, they were filmed here. This was supposed to be a different location. Like maybe they were using this hotel instead of going to New York, as in Home Alone 2, right there. Remember, he was supposed to be lost in New York, but a lot of it was actually filmed right here. In fact, the big, huge suite that Kevin was in, that two-story suite, is the two-story suite that is the Conrad Hilton suite that I told you about earlier at the very top of this hotel. It has been used in the show ER and Chicago PD, and so many TV shows and movies have been filmed here. And sometimes, again, they use them, you wouldn't even know it's the hotel. And this one here, this is actually, as you can look closely at the helicopter, it shows University of Chicago hospitals. Well, this was from the show ER, and this is where people, or actually what they were pretending, of course, this was the medevac helicopter. Instead of being on top of a real hospital or somewhere else, or even in Hollywood, it was done right here at the helipad, the top of the Hilton Chicago. So the Hilton Hotel, as I was saying earlier, is located right on historic Michigan Avenue that lines Lake Michigan here. But between the hotel and Lake Michigan is Grant Park. So I'm just going to turn around here. Here is Grant Park, which is a huge park. It goes from all the way north, and it goes south where I'm standing here. It's probably a mile in each direction. It is absolutely a gorgeous park. You can see all the plantings here. People come out, locals come out here and just stroll around, and a lot of bicycles out here. The other side, there's tennis courts, there's fields, all kinds of different things. And the flowers this time of year and in the spring are absolutely gorgeous. Hydrangeas all over the place, as you can see right over there, the big, those slightly pink hydrangeas. I'm not sure exactly what those are. They look like limelight hydrangeas, which you will get a pink tinge to them just depending on the soil conditions. But as we go down this way, you can see beyond here, not too far, but there's, you see that hill at the end with the statue, and sort of as you veer to the left, that will take you to the Shed Aquarium, the Field Museum, and also the planetarium. So easy walking distance, or if you want, there are the lift bikes that are right out in front of the hotel. So that is very convenient. If you turn around this way, that is to the south. And if you turn towards the north this way, you kept walking, this would take you to the Chicago Art Institute Museum, and beyond that, Millennial Park, where you have the infamous or famous, depending on your view, of the beans sculpture, that big giant silver lima bean. And then beyond that is Navy Pier. So Navy Pier is a bit of a walk. I'd say it's about 2 miles or so, but really on a nice day, not bad at all. Or you can grab one of those lift bikes. If you don't want to walk, you can ride. So absolutely beautiful out here. And what I like, our room, we ask to overlook Lake Michigan. So therefore we overlook beautiful Grant Park as well. Well, the one thing that I will tell you about staying at the Hilton, if you're facing Michigan Avenue, really, I would assume any of the rooms that are right facing the street, is it is an older hotel, and it's single pane glass on the windows. So you will hear all the city noises. We're on the 22nd floor, and we can easily hear the traffic. You can hear honking, lots of honking in this city. And you'll hear, of course, any kind of emergency vehicle sirens. We noticed a lot of motorcycles here play music. They have these very loud speaker systems, so they're playing the music at like full volume, it seems. So keep that in mind. It does calm down, you know, later. When I say later, like maybe 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, this time of the year. Obviously, if you're here during the winter or something, that's going to be totally different. But it does get noisy, and you probably can't hear it now. Maybe you can hear the bells ringing of the train system that is right next to Grant Park here as well. So you will hear that as well. You can hear the rumbling of the train. You can hear the horns when they blast. And, you know, those will start probably about 5 in the morning, it seems, because that is a commuter route. It goes all the way down to Indiana, which is only about 30 miles from here. So do keep that in mind. So just south of the Hilton Hotel on this bluff at Grant Park is a statue of Major General John Logan, and he was a general during the Civil War. He was a Union general. He was born in Illinois, and he was instrumental in creating Memorial Day. You can see from the top of this bluff that just beyond the trees there, you can see the rooftops of the Field Museum. So again, it is not a far walk at all. The hotel is just one city block to my north, which is not far at all. City blocks are not that long, so you can get over there pretty darn quickly. Great museum. I have not seen that yet. I've seen a lot about it. We did go to the Shed. Great aquarium to get to. You can also, if you don't want to pay individual, they have things like the Chicago City Pass, where you pick, you know, 3 or 4 different museums or venues that you want to go to, and you pay one price and you get in to all of them. So you can check that out as well. All right, so as I make my way back in, that was our brief tour of the Hilton Chicago. And as I said, this is the third time that we have stayed here. The first time we stayed here, which was April 2024, we were checking out colleges, and it so happened we were checking out Columbia College, where my son goes, and they had a relationship with this hotel, so we got like a corporate discount. They said, here's a code you can use when you call up the hotel, which we did. And ever since then, of course, we can still use that because they go to Columbia, and we let them know that. And then, I'm a Hilton Honors member and all that kind of stuff. So it really works out to stay here. And believe it or not, staying at this hotel, we go to Disneyland a lot, right? We don't stay at the Disneyland Hotel. We have stayed at the Grand Californian years ago. This is about, I would say, what I pay a night for this hotel with that discount, I am paying about 1/3 the cost as if we were going to stay at the Disneyland Hotel for the same time of the year. So this is quite a bargain to stay in just a historic hotel like this with all these great amenities and walking through this historic building, and yet you got all the modern conveniences and that sort of thing. So if you're ever in Chicago, even if you don't stay here, I'm not getting paid for this. I don't have any, I got the Hilton Honors member, but so does 5 million other people. I'm just saying it's worth to take a look to come in here, go up to see that grand ballroom. I mean, it's worth it. So if you're right here, Chicago Loop, South Chicago Loop, along Michigan Avenue, right across from Grant Park, really well located because you're in between walking distance. If you go north, you have the Chicago Art Institute and Millennium Park and the famous or infamous Bean sculpture. And then the other way, again, easy walking distance, you have the Shed Aquarium, the beautiful Natural History Museum, and then you also have a planetarium over there, of course, Grant Park. Further beyond that is Soldier Field. It's walking distance to Soldier Field. So if you are a fan of the Chicago Bears or an event that's going on there, not long ago they had a Beyonce concert, this would be an ideal location to stay because you can walk to all these places. So of course I had to get the gelato, like I said I would. And we've got, Joanne got the 1 scoop of sea salt caramel. I've got the sea salt caramel, and then it's chocolate with, guy said chocolate with coconut milk. So that sounded pretty good to me. Cannot pass up the gelato when we're staying here at the Hilton.